What's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Crypto Convo, series where we cover exciting news and price action in the land of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. As always, we'll go over each topic that we're going to be discussing and then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, of course, TradingView, we got to take a look at Bitcoin on the charts. I will let you guys know what I'm thinking in terms of future potential price action, but let me tell you guys right off the bat, I'm feeling optimistic. Bitcoin is looking strong and it feels so good to see this in not only Bitcoin but equities as well, that we're seeing strength in the markets. In obviously we're going through the elections right now, times can seem a little polarizing, a little uncertain, so it just feels good to see again strength in not only Bitcoin but equities as well. Okay, so speaking of elections, the first article that we're going to be taking a look at is by Michael Vanderpop of Cointelegraph, and it's titled Bitcoin Price, Why 14K Looks Eerily Similar to $700 During the 2016 Election. So you guys know I always say this cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So we will take a look at what Bitcoin did during 2016, and it's looking good. Okay, if Bitcoin does act like it did during 2016 during this 2020 election, then we might be looking for a breakout ahead. Okay, and in more bullish news, the second article and last article that we're going to be looking at is titled Joseph Young, also from Cointelegraph. Big fan of both these guys' works. I just want to say that right off the bat. Titled Record $860 million in Bitcoin Leaves Binance. Are whales preparing for a rally? So this is good news, you guys. Whenever cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically in this case, leaves an exchange, it usually means that it's going to a cold wallet, and whoever's pulling this Bitcoin out isn't planning on selling it, because that's why they're taking it off of the exchange. Okay, they're not going to be trying to trade it. They want it in their own wallet, and obviously if there's less Bitcoin going into the markets, that makes it that much more scarce and more valuable. Okay, so we'll be taking a look at this, and before we get into it, you guys, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and of course check out the complete portfolio daily newsletter, first link in the description, if you want to know how I'm trading Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin related stocks. I want to tell you guys right now, we're not going to be talking about Riot, Mars, some of the other Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin related stocks today. I will be making a stock talk tomorrow though, talking about those stocks, so stay tuned. But if you guys do want daily updates on those stocks, not only those, but every other stock position in my portfolio, every trading day during market hours, and get a newsletter explaining, rationalizing my thoughts, and just giving you guys my thoughts on the markets overall, okay? Check out the link below. You also get a direct line of contact to me via email if you're interested in that. So I really do appreciate if you check that out. If not, no worries though, as always. Let's get into it. So Bitcoin, of course, we will finish it off with technicals. Got to cover some fundamentals first. So let's kick it off with this very timely article. Both the 2016 and 2020 US elections have seen little volatility in the price of Bitcoin, but the major multi-year resistance at 14K may finally break if history repeats itself. So again, you guys, 14K, for those, if you haven't heard me say this before or just read it anywhere before, is a very significant line of resistance. It's a very significant ceiling for Bitcoin historically, okay? And we have been breaking through the 14K mark, which is very good. And for that reason, I'm just so bullish on Bitcoin. Obviously, you guys know I'm very fundamentally bullish on Bitcoin, but the technicals are looking strong as well. So let's take a look here. I just want to read you guys a few paragraphs down here. So, an interesting perspective is that the current run-up of Bitcoin is similar to the one in 2016. In the weeks before the election of 2016, the US dollar currency index dropped substantially. This drop caused the price of Bitcoin to run from $600 to $740, a rally of more than 20%. However, not much volatility occurred during the election itself. The volatility started to kick off when the election results were confirmed, as the vertical red line shows. The price of Bitcoin moved by 6% in a few hours, while the US dollar showed weakness. The primary question will remain whether the election results will trigger volatility as the markets hold their breath. Therefore, the big moves for Bitcoin and the markets in general may occur after the election results are confirmed, similar to 4 years ago. So again, similar to 4 years ago, is very like what it's just said, is it's similar to what we're seeing now. What happened in 2016, we're seeing very little volatility through the election itself, which again is actually, if you know the historical data here, is not surprising, because that's what we saw last time. But once we get a candidate solidified, and this is what if you guys watched the recent video I posted talking about how regardless of who wins, regardless of who is in the new presidential seat, we just need an answer. Okay, as long as we have an answer, then I think the markets feel that sense of certainty, you guys. And when the markets feel certain, when they have that security, they're a lot more comfortable to putting their capital work. I'm talking investors, of course. Okay, so that's why certainty is always good for the market. Said it many times, and that's why after the election results are published, are secured, the bag is secured, we will likely see a rally or some volatility in either direction after the results are secured. Okay, so throughout the election process itself, we're seeing a little stagnation, a little flat sideways price action. But Bitcoin, even Bitcoin, the markets have been popping lately. But again, you have to keep in mind that the markets are always going to try to price in what they believe to happen, and I think that's kind of what they're doing right now. So that's good news right there. Let's hit on this article as well, and then we'll hop into the charts. So Binance saw its biggest Bitcoin outflow in history after $860 million, or about 60,000 Bitcoin, was withdrawn in one day. Imagine having that much Bitcoin, you guys. I mean, I'd be pumped on double digit Bitcoin, to be completely honest. But I mean, tens of thousands. What? That's goals. One day. It's the plan, guys. So Binance saw its biggest Bitcoin outflow in history on November 3rd, according to data from CryptoQuant. A total of 58,861 BTC were withdrawn in one single day, equivalent to $860 million. The significant spike in outflows could suggest two things. First, it might show that whales could be bracing for a rally in the near term. Second, an over-the-counter deal could have occurred, causing whales to move their funds. Okay, so again, as I said in the beginning, guys, this is pretty much all I want to talk about here. When you see large amounts of Bitcoin exiting exchanges or leaving exchanges, that's typically a good sign, because that means that these whales want these in their cold storage wallets and whatever personal wallets they may hold, and they're not planning on liquidating their Bitcoin for US dollars or whatever their preferred fiat currency is. So whenever Bitcoin leaves an exchange, again, goes to a personal wallet, it usually means that these guys are bracing up. And again, you guys, if there's not sellers, if there's buyers and not sellers, that always raises the price of an asset, right? It's all supply and demand, and the less supply there is on the market, the less there is to fill that demand, and the more price appreciation that causes for whatever asset we're talking about. So in this case, obviously very good news for Bitcoin. The less Bitcoin that is ready to be sold means more bids, or higher bids, I should say, for said Bitcoin from new buyers. Okay. So very good there. Again, you guys, so much other fundamental stuff out there that we're bullish on. We talked about it over the previous weeks, but the news just keeps coming, you guys. There's just so much more fundamental and technical even, which we'll look at right now. But the fundamentals still super, super strong for Bitcoin. And I do want to say this as well. Whoever falls into office, been saying this for a while, but regardless of who's in office, we're going to get another stimulus package. Okay, it's inevitable that we will get another stimulus package, and the more that money is being printed, the more that money printer is going burr, the more Bitcoin and equities, gold, silver, will appreciate in value, and ultimately the dollar will be depreciated, because there's no free lunch. You can't just keep printing trillions of dollars without repercussions, at least definitely in the long run. But even in the short term, which we're kind of seeing now, like the dollar's already deflating at a pretty significant pace. Okay, so that said, let's take a look at Bitcoin. We'll also take a look at Ether as well, maybe XRP, maybe Link, but obviously focusing on Bitcoin, because the performance of Bitcoin is highly, a lot of our other positions that we talk about on this channel are highly reliant on the performance of Bitcoin. So that's why we got to focus on the king. Okay. So Bitcoin, I mean, you guys, it's following such a clean channel here. Like, this is a pretty textbook channel. Even if we scroll back a little bit here, zoom out, I should say, you can see that this area, which was a ceiling for Bitcoin back in early October, is now acting as such a significant, such a solid line of support. And it just makes me feel good to see that Bitcoin is following technicals like this, and not breaking to the, this line of support is very strong, you guys, and that makes me believe that it's highly unlikely. Even if we come back to test this, which might be likely, it's just showing strength. It's showing general strength in Bitcoin, and that leads me to believe that we will likely see a breakout to the upside. And you guys know I've been saying this for weeks now. I expect Bitcoin to, I mean, my first target here is around 17K to test this more medium to long term line of resistance on the overall uptrend, which would again bring us up to the 17.4K area. This purple line here is drawn from the 2017 rally, where there was a few areas of resistance for Bitcoin. One of the very few areas, because keep in mind, you guys, from 14K to 20K, which was Bitcoin's previous high in December 2017, January 2018, there was only that only happened for a couple months, you guys. It happened really fast, and that's why it might seem crazy for me to believe that we can just pop up to 17K just like that. But I mean, the technicals look a lot stronger now than they did in 2017. Like, if you guys are around, you'd understand what I'm saying. But things can happen very fast, and especially in the macroeconomic environment we're in, you guys. Again, all the stars are aligning for Bitcoin. Every star that could possibly be aligning for Bitcoin pretty much is right now. And that makes me think that this cycle will be significant, and that's how cycles go. This was years ago now, you guys. The more an asset develops, the more infrastructure is built around it. That's what I always say. Back then, it was a lot more speculative. Now, Bitcoin has solidified itself as a very powerful asset, and a lot of people, institutions, large companies, public companies are adding it to their balance sheet. People are understanding the fundamental power of Bitcoin in this new financial infrastructure that we're building and creating in this world. So that makes me believe that, I mean, this rally is going to be significantly greater. Again, many of you guys know that 500K is my absolute goal. I will make that video soon. I know I've been promising it. I'm just waiting for the right time, but we'll make that video talking about why 500K is my ultimate price target for Bitcoin. Not going to say it's going to happen next month in a year, but over the coming decade, I can say confidently, over the coming decade, I would be surprised personally if we didn't see a $500,000 Bitcoin. Jeez, sorry, I'm thinking about like market caps and stuff. But short term, you guys, I think 17K is super inevitable. I think we will ultimately break out. So short term, very short term, you guys know I don't, especially with Bitcoin, I don't like talking so short term. But short term, it's almost inevitable to me that we come up to test this line of resistance on this ascending channel. I mean, that I'd be shocked, to be completely honest, if that didn't happen. That would take us up to, say it hits it November 5th, 6th. That would take us up to like 14.6K. So once we get into the high 14s, if we get to 15K, there's very, very little historical resistance around that area, which makes me believe that if we do test this and break above this line of support, which I think is very possible just because it's looking so strong right now, I think we could break out. And if we break out of this, I think it's going to be a very significant breakout, and especially if the equity markets break out as well, which I'm feeling confident. Everything is aligning so nicely for Bitcoin to break out in a time which, again, we have the elections. Times are a little sketchy right now. There's a lot of tension in the air, I should say. That's a better way to put it. I mean, I'm just super confident. I'm super confident in the fact that Bitcoin will ultimately, at the very least, come down. It'll test this short-term line of resistance on this ascending channel. Maybe bounce a little bit off that. But I think after it bounces down, I don't think it's going to come down to test this lower line of support. I actually think that it's more likely, just because, again, it's this ascending channels don't just go forever. At some point, they'll break out. And this looks a lot stronger than it does weak. And that leads me to believe that maybe we'll come up, bounce off this a little bit, check down, and then ultimately probably break out of this, and then it's off to the races from that point. And again, you guys, 17K, I think once we do reach this area, we will probably pull back pretty significantly. That would be my bet, and then ultimately come back up and hopefully see a nice white Christmas. Okay. So again, you guys, this could happen very fast. Always remember, I'm not positive about any of this. Is just what my gut's telling me. This is what the experience that I do have and the data is telling me. But keep in mind, Bitcoin could fall off a cliff tomorrow. I don't know, but it's looking very promising in my mind right now. All the fundamentals, all the technicals are aligning right now. So super bullish on Bitcoin. Again, you guys remember, tomorrow I will make the stock talk talking Raya, Mara, Hive, MicroStrategy. We'll take a look at some others as well. GBTC, ETH is a weird one. Maybe we'll talk about it in the future. Let me know down below if you guys have ever traded or hold ETH, because that's a very weird one, especially if you've held it for longer than a few months. You know what I'm talking about there. GBTC, extremely bullish on GBTC. Do hold a nice bag of GBTC. Shout out to the portfolio group. You guys know that. But yeah, super bullish on that as well. Obviously, a Bitcoin trust. So that's Bitcoin, you guys. Bullish all around. Bullish. BB, Bitcoin bull. So move on to Ethereum. Ethereum is looking solid right now. Okay, so Ethereum is looking like we're seeing kind of, you could almost misinterpret this for a head and shoulders right here. This is the weird thing. I'm actually seeing this on a lot of, and we'll cover this tomorrow, because I'm seeing this on stocks like Riot and Mara as well. Like, it looks like a head and shoulders, but I think it's a fake out. And it could be interpreted as a head and shoulders, but this looks a lot like my Riot and Mara, actually, weirdly. So we're seeing what could look like left shoulder head and then right shoulder, but it just looks to me like this is another higher low. So you can see here, this is significant. This low right here, the absolute low here, is significantly above the previous lows, okay? And then high, and then this recent high is significantly above this one. So we're just seeing higher highs and higher lows, and I think ultimately we will, it's highly likely, again, if everything continues to rally, that we'll see a higher high. That's just the trend. You're seeing higher highs and higher lows, and there's no reason for me to believe. Look at that volume right there. How's that? Look at that volume bar. That's crazy. So again, we'd love to see it. Volume's always good, especially to the upside, of course. And volatility is good as well, you guys. Keep in mind, volatility is a feature. It's not a bug. The more volatility we have, even though it may sting on the downside and feel good on the upside, you have to remember that ultimately, over the medium to long term, it's very healthy because it brings more investors and more interest to the ecosystem that you're investing in. So that's why a lot of people are scared of the volatility in Bitcoin. I think it's a great feature of Bitcoin that again ultimately attracts investors and curious people to come and again. Once you buy some Bitcoin, you dive down the rabbit hole and you begin to understand all the things that many of us on this channel know already. So again, consider yourself lucky, you guys. Even though Bitcoin's at 14K, I will tell you guys, I bought some Bitcoin this past weekend, and it feels good. I'm still a buyer at these levels. That's what I want you guys to understand. Never feel like you've missed the boat. I shouldn't say never feel like you missed the boat. That's factually false. But you guys, right now, I feel like it's still so early. Again, I just told you guys 500K is my ultimate price target. So still feels very early. Ether is, again, I think short term we'll see a higher high. If we zoom out here, I think Ether could easily surpass its 2020 highs. And Ether had a pretty crazy run earlier, especially when tech equities were like the tech sector of the equity markets were rallying. We saw Ether almost hit $500. So we've seen a pretty significant correction already in Ether. But we're ultimately we're still in a crazy uptrend right here, you guys. So we're seeing, like, again, you go sideways for a while, we see it pop. We're going sideways for a while again. It's very likely in my mind that we'll see another pop, especially again if equities keep performing. There's no reason that such a fundamentally strong sector like cryptocurrency right now will rally as well. Again, the financial system is in a bad place, you guys. That's the primary reason that maybe I don't articulate super often, but the financial, just the global financial infrastructure is on glass legs right now. Okay, so there's not much holding it up, and that's why the cryptocurrency sector appeals to me so much. Okay, we just saw bank stocks tank today. Today specifically, when equity, like the Nasdaq, it's crazy that futures like the Nasdaq, the SPY, the Dow futures were up so much, and they performed super well today. Like today, they were all up over 2%. That's a great day. And Nasdaq up 3.5%. That's a great day for equities. And bank stocks crashed today. So it's showing you guys that things are continuing to trend towards just trending out of old prehistoric financial infrastructures into finance 2.0, which is cryptocurrency. Okay, so that's ETH, just bullish on ETH. XRP, we'll take a quick look at XRP here. So XRP is just going sideways. Again, like it doesn't, these technicals don't look exciting to me at all. But I just know what XRP has done in the past. I still hold a lot of the XRP that I had back in 2017, and I will because I'm bullish on on what they provide. Again, XRP is the token made by Ripple Company, and it's used for international money remittance. So especially again, they're right along the line of banks. Like banks, you want to send an international payment, it's going to take a week. It's going to take forever. And a lot of times you need, like, a lot of times there's a lot more urgency. And that's another thing that people will continue to want things faster and faster, and banks just aren't cutting it. And that's why a company like Ripple, who again owns the XRP token, that's what they use to settle transactions internationally, and that's why they can do it super fast. And Ripple, similar to like Ripple does have a capped amount, it's a capped supply. You can't just continue to print more of it. And that's why I'm personally bullish on Ripple. Keep in mind, you guys, the high on XRP was $3. So XRP could still 10x from here and still not be at its all-time high. So I'm very bullish on XRP still. We'll take a look at Chainlink quick and then close it out. So Chainlink looking... Sorry for all these drawings, you guys. It's rare. Like cryptos specifically, I'm more buy and hold, so I don't always look at these charts. But I like looking at them with you guys and just give you guys my opinion. Kind of looking at it looking at charts with fresh eyes. I really like doing with you guys. So Chainlink, as you can see here, this actually, did we break we did. So Chainlink broke a pretty significant line of support that has been printing since late September, and you can see it's now starting to use it as a line of resistance. So Chainlink, for me to be short-term bullish, I'm very long-term bullish on Chainlink still. You guys have been, did I mention that Chainlink was the first investing focused video that I ever made on this YouTube channel? So Chainlink, for me to be short-term bearish, keep in mind, very long-term bearish still. I think Chainlink Oracle solution does definitely serve a purpose in the DeFi landscape, or the decentralized finance landscape of cryptocurrency. Very bullish on it long-term. Short-term, though, it's not looking good because it did break this pretty significant line of resistance here that we've been printing again for the past over a month now. So that's a bummer. It is now successfully using it as a line of resistance. So I will need to see Chainlink break above this, obviously this line that is now a line of resistance. One support, new resistance. It can break above this. It'll get back up into this channel. If we can break above this, I think it's pretty likely that we can see Chainlink, like you guys can see, like, you know, just general trend line right here. I think it's very likely we can see Chainlink do something, like come up to, if it gets back up in this channel, there's no reason for me to not believe that it'll once again test the top side of this channel. And again, you guys, if we start to rally, like, things can get so crazy and technicals just almost don't even matter anymore, and you just start going parabolic. So we've seen it before and just know it can happen again. Until then, we will follow technicals, but you guys just be ready for when things go freaking parabolic, because it feels super good. And it feels super good. What an eloquent statement. It feels awesome. And I just want to experience that with you guys. Again, I just want you guys to be prepared. Obviously stay safe. Always manage your risk, always manage your expectations, but just be prepared for when things go parabolic, because we've seen it before and we know it can happen again. Okay, so always want to experience the green days with you guys, red days. I'm here for you guys as well. So thankfully, been seeing green. Everything's been looking green. Let's hope we continue. To let me know in the comments down below what you're excited about, what you're thinking about the elections right now. If you're worried, talk to, again, that's what community is for. Talk to other people about it. And again, look forward to talking to you guys. Look forward to talking shop, learning from you guys as always. So I'll catch you downstairs. Until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.